Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. I have a little confession to make to everyone out there. The tea that we're going to be drinking today, I've actually had sitting in our warehouse for over 8 months. It arrived last year and I decided not to put it out for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I really wanted to get to know this tea. Whenever we release teas, we tend to release them pretty much relatively soon after they've arrived. And these videos that I make tend to be me shooting from the hip a little bit, tasting the tea for the first time, understanding the character, which is great. I love doing those videos. But with this tea, I just felt like I wanted to get to know it. It's got such an interesting character and complexity that I just felt like I needed to understand it a little bit more. The second reason is that this tea is called Presence Collector. And I felt like, I don't know, it was something just stopped me from releasing it. It was just sort of this instinct to say, let's wait until there seems to be a more appropriate time. It's always an appropriate time to collect presence, to be in the present moment. But let's see if there's just a little bit more of an appropriate time for the release of this tea. I'm speaking to you from March 2020. We are in full-on coronavirus hysteria. It's all a bit mad. So it's getting a bit too much. And I've had a really heavy week last week. So I just woke up this morning, it's Saturday morning here in London, and I thought, you know what? Today is the day. I need a little presence collecting. I need to collect my presence. I need to just refocus, sort of reset, and just get a bit of perspective on everything. So today is the day to release Presence Collector. A very special tea to me. Here is the sloth glowing in the forest, sitting in front of a carved wooden table with a bowl of dried fruits. Take a look here, a little bit of a close up here, in case that other camera didn't pick it up. Artwork by Celine. As I said, we've had this for about 8 months, so this is artwork that I've seen many times. This is actually going to be the third cake that I open up. I have been loving this tea. And even though I really wanted to get to know this tea, what you'll find out is that this tea seems to change with every session, or with every infusion it seems to change. Now I'm going to say from the outset, do not get into this tea. Do not have a session with this tea unless you've got time to have a long session, because this tea really needs your attention. It's about drawing your attention. The infusions shift so beautifully. It would be a travesty for you to only drink 3-4 quick infusions of this tea. This is one to really sit and savor. Let's quickly scope this tea while we look at these lovely dark leaves. So, this is Presence Collector. This is season spring 2004. So this is a 16-year-old tea. The cultivar is the Daejong variety. Origin, this is from Yiwu. So this is an aged Yiwu PuErh. This is Gushu. It is made from 300 to 400-year-old tea trees, estimated. So Gushu, aged Yiwu PuErh. That's music to everyone's ears out there, I'm sure. The picking and processing will be a bud and up to 3 leaves. The elevation is around 1,400 meters. Eyes dry leaf of this. Lovely sort of, we've got some very tarnished gold here. We've got leather, blacks and browns, some sort of overall cherry tone, as well as some more, as I said, golden notes here. A lovely looking cake. Let's dive in. Where do I want to go? For some reason, I want to go in here. So whenever you need a bit of presence collecting, whenever you feel like you want to just escape a little bit, well, not escape, but actually get closer to true reality, be in the moment, then this is the tea that I've been turning to, the Presence Collector. Maybe it tells you something about the hecticness of my life, that this is already my 3rd cake that I'm breaking into. Right, that's definitely enough. let's put this to the side. We've got our frog. We're definitely going to be counting infusions. So this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through the infusions. We're going to be cutting a little bit this video so that we go through infusions quite quickly, because it really is a tea that is just so wonderful how it transforms over the course of a session. I've got a little cup here and a new Gongdao Bei that I've just been sent. Quite interested in this Gongdao Bei. If you like it, let me know. We may just bring this one in. Okay. Warm Guy 1. Kettle is reheating. Let's put these leaves in here. I'm guessing that this is around 7-8 grams would be my guess. Lovely cherry brown, cherry black leather leaves. Really, really interesting how the aging process changes the color of tea. Yeah, you know what? A little bit more. There you go. Let's really, really enjoy this session. As I said, it's all a bit mad out there, isn't it? If you're watching at the time of the release, then no doubt you'll be feeling the same thing. It's all a bit mad out there. Plus, it's been a crazy week. Seems to be non-stop this week. So, as I said, woke up this Saturday and I was like, I took care of my daughter from 5:30 in the morning. It's now about 9 and I thought, no. Let's get into the studio, let's break out Presents Collector and let's have this session. Okay, let me smell this. I'm getting lacquers, I'm getting cherries. I'm getting a slight incense note, but very fresh sandalwood or cedarwood incense note. Sweet tobacco. Oh, that sweet tobacco, Maduro tobacco. If you had our Maduro, then it has similar notes to that. But it's also got some floral note, like a dried sweet flower like rose or lily. So I'm getting those tobaccos, I'm getting dried flowers, there's dried cherries, there's slight incensey note, and there's a little salty spice to it, which I'm picking up celery salt, that salty and slightly celery note. So very classic aging smell. When you start to smell aged pu'erhs, you'll start to pick up some of those Chinese medicinal notes. This is very light on that, not much, but it's more like a sort of celery salt, just a whiff of celery salt over the top of all of that sweetness. Right. This tea has been sitting for 16 years, and it's a true case of allowing an aged tea to just come back to life. Creamy, woody, sweet, slight whiff of dark chocolate. It's got a definite, we saw the cover in there, it's got a definite foresty note, but nothing like sort of undergrowth foresty. It smells like that wooden table that you see here. You know, it smells like sort of old antique carved woods that have been lacquered up, and then you combine that with the sweetness of dried cherries. And the flowers up here are coming through as well. These sweet forest flowers. The dried fruit, the dried cherries, the lacquered wood. And there is this smell of walking through a forest in the summer after a summer storm. You know, that smell of fresh humidity, not this sort of sitting hot humidity, but that fresh humidity rising from this forest. It might be a pine forest because it's got that fresh note to it. A tea to stick your nose in for many, many minutes. Do not rush into your first infusion. And as I said, a little slight creamy note as well. Frog gets some rinse, don't worry, you'll get some of the prime stuff as well. We've got 99-degree water here, so boiling hot. I want to brew this at a slightly cooler temperature. So I want to brew this at around 95. So what do? Well, it's simple. I'll just pour the water first into my Gongdao Bei. That way it'll start to cool down and it will bring it down to about 95. And then I'm going to do rim brewing, continuous rim brewing. I don't want to hit those leaves. I want to gently wake these guys up. And as I said, please do not even think about having a session with this tea unless you have time to sit and do, you know, a good 10 infusions with this tea, because it's amazing how it transforms. And as I said, I'm going to shoot through some of these infusions. We're going to cut through them a little bit more quickly than normal because I want you to get a feeling of the snapshot of flavors. Color. First infusion, I don't know, that was about half a minute. Oh, caramel color. Take a look at that. It is a lovely caramel whiskey color. It's not so much cloudy, but there's this sort of mistiness going on in there. It's like it's like there's a little swirling mist of activity happening, but it looks smooth and it looks velvety. Very exciting. Right. Oh, I love the color of this. Wow. Let's give it a taste. Nice, thick looking texture. Right, let's focus on texture first. Thick, oily, voluptuous tea. Moving to little whisper of dryness. Very, very gentle beginning. And this is rim brewing. I would not hit this, well, you can hit it direct, but if you hit it direct, you're going to pull out more of those woody notes from the beginning, which is really nice. Actually sort of got this real antique wood note to it when you hit it direct brewing. But I have learned to love it slow and easy, rim brewing, just bringing out the flavors in a little bit more of a staged way rather than just, you know, a stronger extraction from the beginning. Taste notes, getting that incense, like walking into a head shop. You know, one of those hippie shops, head shops, just that smell that's coming through the air. I'm getting like that spiciness that comes from cedarwood and sweetness. Burnt prunes and dried cherries. Texture is delightful. Texture is so lovely and smooth and oily. I'm also picking up a slight greenness to it. And that greenness, it's like a starchy greenness to it. So this water is now at 92. So I can go direct in. Again, continuous rim brewing all the way around. So that greenness is like slightly starchy. A little bit like artichoke hearts. If you have artichoke hearts and you steam them so they're soft in the middle and they have that sweet starchy taste as well as that green, slightly tangy note to it. Nothing sour. It's like a starchy skunkiness to it. Second infusion. no filter. Just to see if that makes a difference to the texture. Color. This tea has got legs. It will go and go and go. In fact, by the sort of 15th infusion, you can just pour water, leave it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, come back, and it's just the sweetest tea. Okay. Flavor in my mouth that's being left over is lovely. Dried cherry sweetness. There's also like a sweet, fresh or poached pear puree, a flavor I've gotten to know quite well because we're feeding our little girl purees at the moment. Like we're making our fresh, like organic fruit purees, and pear puree is one of her favorites. And it is there, pear puree. There's a little bit of, as I said, lacquered wood going on. There is a slight bitterness that is popping up. That bitterness is also quite vegetal. It's just there, a little bitterness, like just to announce its arrival. It's sort of like, it comes with this almost like bitter melon bitterness, and then goes to this flowery lily, ultra sweet lily aromatic. That was infusion 2. Take your time. We're going to cut through lots of infusions here. Please take your time with this tea. Sip it and savor it. 3rd infusion, the aftertaste in my mouth is so aromatic. Cherry cough sweets and lily flowers. Sweet, slight medicinal note, sweetness, sweet sort of cough medicine, cherry cough sweet note. But wow, the flowers coming through. Texture is still thick and oily, getting a little bit more mineral in the 3rd infusion. And that's laying down an interesting dynamic in my mouth. Center, back of the tongue, dry. Not furry dry, just gently dry. And then the sides of my tongue, juicy, sweet, from the right to the back, right from the back, all the way to the front, underneath my tongue. Juiciness sort of flooding out from around my tongue, and this sort of little pocket of dryness on the top. A really interesting dynamic with the texture. Taste. Still going with those cherries and antique woods. A little menthol, a little bit of menthol and lemon balm and those herbal sweets that you can get, you know, Ricola, those herbal sweets. Yeah, it's got that cooling huigan, but it's a different kind of huigan to the raw young pu'erh. This is more sort of embedded in the tea. It's just in all of the liquor has this sweetness, this cooling, minty sweetness. The woodiness is there still, but that is dissipating more and more to fruits. So it sort of started off as cedar woods and sandalwoods and lacquered antique woods, and then moves to cherry, like fruit woods and cherry wood. This at the moment tastes like cherry wood, but there's also this steamy quality to it, this sort of humid forest steamy quality, a freshness that I would say is really interesting as it plays with this dried fruit sweet warmth. It's almost like a sauna, you know, this sort of steamy, like sauna, but then powered by cherry wood, like a cherry wood heated sauna. So I'm getting those woods and cherries, but that steam as well. Still got a little bit of that vegetal note, but the vegetal note is more like sweet peas, sweet green peas with a little bit of mint in it. And the aftertaste is amazing. Let's have a sniff of this empty Gong Da Bei. We've done 3 infusions, so many more to go, but let's just have a sniff of this. Caramel, really, really tiny little bit of that tobacco in there, but that sweet Maduro tobacco, but caramel and banana, but an overripe banana. So imagine you've taken overripe bananas and you've sort of fried them with butter and caramel or sugar, and it's caramelized and become darker, slightly medicinal. Maybe there's a bit of that medicinal honey in there as well. And maybe that medicinal honey is making me think of things like incense and sandalwood and those sort of notes as well. A lovely, lovely smell, sweet. Everything about this tea is this flow, this dichotomy of woody, even tiny, tiny little bit like the freshest cut white mushrooms. So nothing undergrowth like, but that sort of very, very fresh white mushroom smell, but very, very light. That complements the woodiness. And this foresty note, and then boom, you're in flowers and fruits, dried fruits and flowers. The cover by Celine really does depict this very, very well. That sloth. That's how when I woke up this morning, that's how I wanted to feel the whole day. You can see by my eyes, it has not been an easy week. Lots of traveling, lots of work, lots of trying to deal with coronavirus upheaval. It's been a bit mad. I know a lot of businesses are finding it hard to try and work out how to adapt, and it's but you know what? Presence. Right now, that's all that matters. Yeah. Like a little smoky tobacco combined with lemon balm and mint and those herbal, flowery, meadowy sweetness. It's like you're straddling between this deep, dark, beautiful, alluring forest and this summery, sweet, fruit-laden meadow orchard. Oh, amazing. Let's keep going through some more infusions. 6th infusion. And in my experience, having sessions with this tea, there's a real sort of shift around infusion 5 or 6. Nothing dramatic, but then all of those pruny dried fruit notes in the fruit bowl here in front of this sloth start to really reveal themselves. And you're almost getting like a younger PuErh taste to it, bizarrely. You're getting, I think the reason I say that is because I'm getting those sort of more bright jasmine notes to the taste, combined with prunes and cherries. There's still a little bit of woodiness in there, but it's now shifted and has moved into that sweet, sweet tea spectrum. And from my experience, this is how it then continues. It just becomes really prune sweet, cherry sweet tea. And as I said, just keeps on going. We'll do infusion number 7. Let me try and assess. Well, let's first talk about mouthfeel. It's very rare that I do these videos and get to infusion number 7 to talk about mouthfeel. So this is interesting. It has continued. I'm getting this island of soft dryness on the top of my tongue and the top of my palate, like a little sticky grip, but then the sides of my tongue, sweet, almost zesty in their sweetness. Again, like a lemon balm, lemony, minty sweetness for the juiciness in my mouth. Oh, I'm imagining sort of unwrapping dried cherries that have been sitting in a brown paper bag. Eating dried cherries from a brown paper bag, sitting next to a bouquet of lilies and jasmine flowers. That's the kind of imagery that I'm getting. We've now sort of moved away from the forest. Body sensation. This is a really interesting one. It's a very interesting tea. It seems, from my experience, to be almost adaptogenic. Like, what I mean by that is, if I'm feeling fatigued, it seems to just give me a lift. If I'm feeling a bit hyper, it seems to just settle me, chill me out a little bit. There's no doubt that the name Presence Collector fits it very, very well. No matter what, it just brings you to a more centered place, a little bit more equilibrium. And it's a tea that you could start in the morning and just keep brewing throughout the day. This is infusion number 7. Sweet cherry prune water. I adore this tea. It's a very special tea because it's a tea which really should be broken out when you want to gather yourself a little bit, gather a bit of presence. Let's take a look at these leaves. They've evened out in color. Lovely, nice, relatively thick leaves, beautifully whole, nicely preserved through the 16 years of its slumber. And if you buy some of this tea, then nothing's stopping you aging it a bit longer. You could have 20-year PuErh, 20-year-old Yiwu Gushu, 25-year-old Yiwu Gushu, depending on how patient you are. But I would definitely recommend buying one to drink now. I hope that this tea brings a little bit of presence into your life and that you enjoy it as much as I do. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags, keep drinking the good stuff, and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.